as hard as I can to try to catch where you all are calling from. I see Atlanta, Georgia is in the house tonight, Sacramento, California, Baytown, Texas is in the house, Orlando, Florida. We've got Conyers, Georgia is in the house. Brooklyn, New York is in the house. Shout out to the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, who hails from Brooklyn, New York, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Okay, we got Houston, Fort Lauderdale, Montclair, New Jersey. A lot of East Coast on here. Dallas, Texas, Long Beach, California. It's going really fast, y'all. Lorton, Virginia, Decatur, Georgia is in the house. Hanover, Maryland is in the house. Washington, D.C., that's where I'm at tonight in the house. Do I see any South Carolina in the house? Columbus, Ohio is in the house. All of this greatness. Falls Church, Sister Eva from Falls Church is on the call tonight. I see Linda from Baltimore that's on the call tonight. Woo, it is going really, really fast. San Francisco, Chicago, Chi-Town. We're going to see a lot of you in Chicago this week at Power Rising. I hope to see you all there. Greensboro, South Carolina, my home state. Oakland. Old Town is in the house. Mississippi. We got some beautiful ladies. It says, hello, beautiful ladies from Scottsdale, Arizona. We got Flint, Michigan. Oh, it's so many beautiful Black women on the call. Someone just gave a shout out. Hi, Marcia from Irving, Texas. It's just so wonderful to see so many of you from all around the country. And we also often have Black women who are calling in from around the diaspora. So often these calls are international. And if you're planning to be at Power Rising in Chicago this week, put that in the chat so we can know to look for you. Make sure that we can say hello, but let us know if you're going to be in the house and continue to let us know where you're from. Good evening, sisters. My name is Joteka Edie, and I am so honored to spend most Sunday nights with brilliant, amazing, beautiful Black women, and that is yourself. If you are joining for the first time, welcome. If you've been here before, you know what I'm about to say. When with Black women, we are an intergenerational network of Black women leaders who join in our personal capacities towards collective power. We have been meeting since 2020, and our very first call back in August of 2020, there was about 90 of us. And since then, our network have grown to nearly 200,000. And many of us have together and in partnership with Black women's leadership organizations and Black women leaders have done remarkable work collectively in this country. We join around our collective concern and outrage to the narrative and to racism and sexism that continue to permeate the conversation in the political arena. But our work is not only defined there. We have done work together in culture, in music, in business, and across the country, anywhere where Black women can collectively come together. And together, we've done some great things. In 2020, we banded together following the leadership of Black women leaders, some of them who you will hear tonight, and Black women organizations who for a long time had called for a Black woman to have her rightful place on the presidential ticket. And together, we all were so proud to do the work to see our nation's first Black woman elected as Vice President of the United States and our forever Vice President, Kamala Harris. And then we continued our work to advocate together along with other Black women organizations and leaders for historic firsts in the Biden-Harris administration, all the way from the cabinet level to the federal board of governors to the United States Supreme Court, and where we have seen representation of Black women. But we've also spoken out when we've seen racism and sexism. And when we saw the racism hurled at Halle Bailey, when she became the Little Mermaid, we all band together and we held more than 100 private screenings for The Little Mermaid on opening weekend, showing that we as Black women, one, have economic power, and number two, we want to make a very bold statement that our image and representation matter. And we've done other great campaigns and work together, whether it's been our work following the leadership of the WNBA Players Association and our advocacy to help bring our sister Brittany B.G. Griner home, or if it was our work to advocate for our sister Ajika H.A. Owens, who was brutally murdered by her neighbor in Florida. Our advocacy and our work to elevate that case and to support the historic documentary that followed that case, which became the number one documentary in the history of Netflix worldwide, entitled The Perfect Neighbor. And we have championed Black women's works of art and books and businesses, and together we have made historic strides. And many of us probably remember almost 2 years ago now when we all came together for a historic Zoom call where there were more than 44,000 of us on one single Zoom and then approximately 100,000 others who watched that Zoom, whether they were in Clubhouse or on a Zoom or Zoom or in another space. And that created a tremendous amount of momentum and collaboration and a reminder that as Black women, when we band together, that we can indeed move mountains. Now, tonight, we are still gathering in that same spirit, bringing to you on this Sunday night a whole lot of amazing Black women experts that will talk to you about critical issues that are happening in our country and how you can elevate your voice and participate and support. And we know that right now in this country, there is a massive attack on Black women's leadership and on Black women in general. Black women's economic power, Black women's bodies. But what we know since the dawn of time is that when we as Black women unite, when we come together and lift each other up, and that we support in a collective voice, that there is nothing that can stop us. And we continue in that vein, one, speaking out against racism and sexism, two, working in our personal capacities to elect Black women up and down the ballot, and three, lifting up the collective spirit and power of Black women, and particularly that of Black women-led and centered organizations. We open in the spirit and we close in the spirit, and we invite you after the closing of the spirit to join one of our many after hours rooms in which you can migrate into a room where you're no longer on webinar, but you're in a meeting space where you can actually connect and talk with women that are part of these calls. And I am so honored to welcome to the stage, back to the Win with Black Women stage, a spiritual warrior who is going to open us up in the spirit. Let us welcome back to Win with Black Women, our sister Bryna.
Good evening, sisters. Thank you so much, Joteka. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you to all of the women who support Joteka and support us on this journey. I'm very honored and privileged to be here tonight to pray with you as we pray about this work we are doing, and we ask God to continue to uphold us. So if we could just take a few deep breaths where we're sitting, shake off outside, get centered, and bow our heads and get very humble as we go to the Lord in prayer. Dear, mighty, and magnificent Lord, the one who knows all things and sees all things, the one who has the final word, and the one who sustains us in everything we do. First, we say thank you. In the words of our dearly departed brother Richard Smallwood, if we had 10,000 tongues, it wouldn't be enough to say thank you. For life, for health, for strength, for unmerited mercy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to come to you one more time as the ones, the women, the sister leaders who refuse to wait. God, you have called us to become the women who our fellow sister leader, Kara Lawson, says, handle hard better. Not the women waiting for it to get easier, not the women hoping the fight will soften We have stopped waiting for the easy. We are the women who have looked hard in the face and said, "We go anyway." And still, Lord, we are tired. The only the way only those who care deeply get tired. Tired from standing in rooms and demanding that our sister leaders be seen and heard. Tired from knowing that food is not guaranteed, that shelter is not guaranteed, that healthcare, education, a living wage, none of it is guaranteed. That's why we keep showing up. So we ask you to not make it easier. We ask you to make us better. Make us women who do not flinch, women who do not fold. Give us the strength to accept that this work is hard, not eventually easier, not someday lighter, hard all the way through. And let us accept it with grace that we thought we never had. Grace for ourselves when we cannot do it all. Grace for the women beside us who sometimes break but also rise. Grace for the long arc that we may not live to see completed. We ask you to meet every sister on this call exactly where they are. Remind them, remind us that falling to our knees is not defeat, it is worship. It is the soul returning to its source. It is exactly where you, oh God, meet us. We ask you to remind us that the wilderness is not a wrong term. It is the territory. It is where the character is built. It is where you do your finest work in the most ordinary, exhausted, overlooked women who are full of resilience and refuse to sit down. When the votes don't go our way, steady us. Lord, when the legislation stalls, renew us. When the world tells us it cannot be done, remind us of every door that was supposed to stay closed and didn't. Lord, you have ushered us through so many doors together since 2020. And so we ask you to constantly remind us of our strength through you. Just here, just standing, just refusing to put down our tools because we know what is at stake, because we have seen the faces of the people we are fighting for, because love, radical, exhausting, relentless love demands that we keep going. You have chosen us to be the ones who carry the names and the faces into rooms that were not built with us in mind. So we keep going, we keep speaking, we keep fighting. And when this call ends and we go back to the work, please go with us. Walk into every meeting, every campaign, every legislative battle, every rally, every vote with the sister leaders on this call. Let them feel your presence, not as a reward for surviving the hard, but as a companion inside it. They were never walking alone. We are never walking alone, not one of us. So, along this journey, Lord, we ask that you give us softer hearts, clearer vision, stronger backs, and the wisdom to know the difference between productive struggle and destructive depletion. Give us the discernment of holy self awareness to know when to push forward through difficulty and when we have reached our limit and need to stop, rest, and ask for help. Help us to know that is okay too. For there is much work to be done, and it can only be done with a healthy mind, body, heart, and spirit. And we promise always to look to only you to renew us, for we can do absolutely nothing without you. We acknowledge that you are omnipotent, and we give you total praise as we pray these words in your mighty name. Amen, 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 and thank you.
My goodness. Thank you for that. And I am going to ask because I believe that many probably in the chat would ask if you have that written, if you don't mind sharing it, and we can share it when we share it out. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
such a beautiful opening in the spirit, my sister. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, sisters, we are going to start our agenda, and we're always so honored to have this ongoing segment where we are always greeted at the top of our calls by the conscience of the United States Congress. And that are the bold, 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 brilliant Black women that are part of the Congressional Black Caucus. Tonight, we are honored to have back with Win with Black Women. She was a part of Win with Black Women and joining these calls before she was in Congress and when she was running for Congress. And now that she is in Congress, she is a constant expert that joins these calls. Before I bring her up, I want to roll this video to show a bit more about this courageous and historic first from the state of Virginia.
We have made a lot of progress, and all of that progress is being chipped away as we speak. But the women of the Congressional Black Caucus are persistent. Yes, we are fighting the same fights as our mothers, our grandmothers, and our great-grandmothers. And we could be angry about that. We'd have every right to be. We could be despondent, we could give up, but we don't. Because we fight those fights from a position of more strength and power than our ancestors ever imagined. And we fight those fights so that our daughters and our granddaughters and our great-granddaughters don't have to. But if they do, they will fight those fights from a position of more strength and power than we can imagine.
Let us welcome back to the Win with Black Women stage a history maker and a true fighter, a part of the conscience of the Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, representing the great state of Virginia, Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan. Hello.
Hello, good evening to everyone, and happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. It's always a good Sunday whenever you're surrounded by, 1,200 plus Black women from around the country. So it's always great. Congresswoman, thank you so much for always being with us and joining us. I want to start off, there's a lot to talk about tonight. And there's a lot of information that our sisters need tonight, particularly about Virginia. But before we get there, let's talk about what's happening in Congress. There is so much happening right now. There's a lot of concerns about some of the conversations and the continuing fights that we continue to see. And we are just so grateful that you and your colleagues continue to stand in solidarity with the people of America. So I want to turn it over first for you to talk about just the state of Congress as it is right now.
The first word that comes to mind is a hot mess because nothing really good is happening. This has been the 119th Congress has been the least productive Congress in modern history as far as bills that are passed and constructive things that are being done. Now, of course, we know last year a major destructive bill, the big ugly law, as I call it, that had the largest cuts to Medicaid in American history, the largest cuts to SNAP benefit, the largest transfer of wealth from the bottom 10% of earners to the top 2% of earners, the largest transfer of investment in American history. And that was on top of Congress sitting by and doing nothing as this president tries to dismantle not 4 years of progress, not 10 or 50 years of progress, but in some cases, 100 years of progress in the civil rights movement, in the environmental protections, everything that we care about and that we fought for. So that's the big picture. When we left for recess, you had which was 2 weeks ago. We'll go back this Tuesday. The House had just rejected, the Speaker and congressional Republicans had just rejected a unanimous bill that passed out of the Senate that would have reopened and funded the Department of Homeland Security with the exception of ICE and Border Patrol, because Democrats refused to give them any additional funding without reforms that really hold them to the same standards of any other law enforcement agency. Now, on top of that, let me remind you that big ugly law gave them a nearly $200 billion slush fund to continue their overly aggressive deportation campaign, for lack of a better word. I mean, it's really a terror campaign on our communities that have created a public safety crisis. So that was the last vote we took, was they rejected that. And then over the break, the speaker said, well, we're going to vote for it. But he didn't bring us back to vote for it. So for 2 weeks, we've been sitting around waiting to vote on a bill that we could have voted on months ago. Meanwhile, the president has also said he's not going to sign another bill unless the Senate passes the Save America Act, which would require everyone who wants to vote to have to prove their citizenship before they could register. It's a modern day poll tax because every ID you could use costs money. So he's saying that's the only thing that he will sign. But he's distracted right now with a war that he started for no reason in Iran. And he clearly doesn't know what he's doing. His Secretary of Defense clearly doesn't know what he's doing because they fired everybody that knows what they're doing and will stand up to him. And when we go back, Democrats will put forward again a war powers resolution to stop this war. I don't know if we're going to have the votes to do it, but on May 1st, it'll be 60 days since he launched that attack on Iran. And under the War Powers Act of 1973, he has to bring our troops home unless he gets approval from Congress to keep them there. So we're going to have a major vote on the war powers one way or another. If it's not next week, it's coming in the beginning of May when that 60 days expires.
Congresswoman, thank you for that. I think that's a very helpful context. And it's also very helpful for everyone to understand some of the rules, that there are actual rules and laws that should be abided by. But it's very helpful to understand the 60 days and May 1st that there's going to be a critical vote. And there has to be some conversation and some level of vote on this issue. With so many communities feeling the impact of federal decisions every day, what's the one policy fight that you would describe or that's happening right now that you think particularly the women on this call should be paying closer attention to?
Well, I think it's the proposed budget that the president just introduced a couple of weeks ago, which is a massive infusion of even more money in the Department of Defense for his war in Iran that he would pay for with cuts across the board to all discretionary non-defense spending. So we're talking about 13% cuts to Health and Human Services, the elimination of programs that we care about, like the TRIO programs at the Department of Education that helps first generation and at-risk students, particularly a lot of HBU students, cuts to the Department of Energy, the EPA, HUD. So all of the domestic spending and the issues that we care about, he's proposed even more cuts on top of what they already did. And I can tell you right now, the public health, actually all of our safety nets, not just public health, all of our safety nets to help the most vulnerable in our communities are already broken, and he's going to break them even more.
And you've been such a strong advocate around the safety of our healthcare system. Can you talk a bit more about your top 2 to 3 priorities that you have been pushing, not only in this Congress, but since your entire tenure in Congress?
Well, first, I have to say on this first day of Black Maternal Health Week that closing that gap and addressing the maternal health crisis and the infant mortality crisis that we have in this country is one of them. And he's all of the policies that they've put in place are undoing progress we made towards that. The United States got a D this year again for maternal and infant mortality. So that's one. And then just access to affordable quality healthcare, whether it's for rural communities, urban communities, low income, Black communities. It's so many people here in Virginia alone, 33,000 Virginians have lost their health insurance already just because the Affordable Care Act enhanced premium tax credits expired. When the Medicaid cuts, 300,000 more are going to lose their health insurance. We're looking at millions of Americans who are going to lose their health insurance and hospitals that are going to close. And there are a lot of people who already can't get the care that they need when they need it without going bankrupt.
Mm. Well, thank you so much for your leadership on this, and thank you for speaking to Black maternal health, because we know these statistics and these stories are very real and they're staggering, and we have to close this gap and we have to address this. I want to now talk about another issue that you have championed is access to democracy and voting rights. And right now in Virginia, there is a very important moment in Virginia. And before we get into that, I want to play this video by one of your, she's not one of your direct constituents, but she lives in the state of Virginia and she's passionate about this issue. She's a sister who's been here many, many times, Alencia Johnson. So let's play this video.
Hey, Virginia voters, listen to this. Have y'all seen these racist mailers being sent to Black voters across our state? I have, my family has, every Black voter I know in the state has. And I need you to know one thing. These are deliberately misleading. They're using our forever President Barack Obama's image. They're using images of Dr. King, the civil rights era, and words that tell Black voters to vote no on the redistricting amendment here in Virginia. Except that's not what President Obama said, nor is that what he supports. This is all deception in a campaign that is funded by Trump's billionaire friends like Peter Thiel, who just dropped millions into this same operation behind these racist, fear-mongering mailers invoking Jim Crow and the KKK to scare us away from the polls. But let me be clear, the people behind these mailers are not people who care about Black voters or Virginians. They're actually scared of Black voters. Because here's why. Donald Trump is losing and he knows it. So he called his homeboys down in Texas, North Carolina, and Missouri to redraw their congressional maps mid-decade to rig the 2026 elections before a single vote was cast. So Virginia has one chance to fight back. And that means we have to vote yes to redraw our maps so our communities actually have representation in Congress. And the maps go back to the standard bipartisan process in 2031. This right here, what we're voting on, it's temporary, targeted, and necessary. Listen, people who are afraid of losing will cheat to win, but we won't let them. If you get that mailer, pause, and then run on over to your polling location and vote yes. Early voting is open right now through April 18th. I know because I voted yesterday. And Election Day is April 21st. You can learn more from Delta for Women in Action, the Virginia State Conference of NAACP, and Virginians for Fair Elections. You can also go to elections.virginia.gov to find your polling location. Don't let anybody use our ancestors to take our power. You can fight back, and that starts with voting yes. And then get your friends to do it too.
Congresswoman Alencia Johnson. Sisters, make sure you follow Alencia. Always great information. You can follow her on all social platforms. Congresswoman, all eyes are on Virginia in April. Can you talk about what we just saw, put it into context, and why does it matter to the rest of the nation?
Yeah, so I mean, frankly, they're trying to bamboozle us, and they're doubling down because yesterday I got a mailer that I think is going to white liberal voters because it's not just Black voters, but it's also white liberal voters. But it says Richmond politicians' power grab to rig maps divides communities of color and weakens minority representation. And then on the back, it says Richmond, Petersburg, and Southside and other predominantly Black communities were not combined, but instead, Black voters from across these areas were dispersed across multiple districts. All right, fact check. I represent Richmond, Petersburg, and Southside. Now, I will continue to represent Richmond, Petersburg, and Southside. I get more of Southside, as a matter of fact. So these are just lies. But what they're trying to do is bamboozle Black voters to say, this is going to hurt you. But let me tell you something. If the people who are opposing redistricting are the same people that are trying to dismantle the progress of the civil rights movement, look, we're not that dumb. We're not that dumb. But they think if they can flood the zone with this misinformation, they'll confuse voters and they'll just stay home. It's a trick as old as time. but we're not going to let them do it. So Hakeem Jeffries was in Richmond today to make sure that we get the facts out. Because here's the thing. North Carolina redistricted in 2024 when Democrats only needed 4 seats to take back the majority. They took away 3 seats with the stroke of a pen in redistricting. And that's what gave Donald Trump this idea. He thought Democrats weren't going to fight back. But we cannot fight for the soul of our country if we've got one hand tied behind our backs and they are fighting with both fists with brass knuckles on them. So we're fighting back to level the playing field so that we can make sure that Democrats win in the midterms, because had Donald Trump not gone to Texas and Missouri and said, give me more seats, Democrats would have won anyway. So we're leveling the playing field to fight for the future of our country and fight for a House with Speaker Hakeem Jeffries that will actually stand up to this president and all of the shenanigans that he's doing illegally because he wants to be a king.
I want to bring up another Virginia resident, and I hope she's able to come on and weigh in on this. She just literally spoke on a convening that was held by the NAACP, the Virginia state conference of the NAACP, and shout out to all of the sisters on this call from the Virginia NAACP, but Sister Melanie Campbell. We know that you have long fought for democracy and voting rights, and you have been a leader on this across the country. But you're a resident, and can you speak on this as well and what these sisters should be doing?
Well, getting out here and turning out that vote and vote early. And that's going to be critical, because I think you can vote all the way up to Saturday of this week. Because it really, in the other part of it, is just talk to folks simple about it. That's what we talked about on the call. And I think what the NACP is doing across the state is what needs to be done. Making the phone calls, talking to folks in the grocery store, doing what Congresswoman McClellan I know does all the time, right? Really talking to folks and letting them understand that this vote, because you can get wonky about redistricting and everything, but if you say, hey, this is the vote, that this is the power you have to fight back. These women, these Black women who have lost jobs, lost contracts, this vote will determine whether or not there's going to be any pushback when it comes to a shifting of power in the Congress. This vote will also make sure we help to slow down, because who controls the pocketbook of the federal government budget is what's on the ballot. And so when we talk about what happened in the past year and all the backlash from the civil service, especially in this region that's been impacted, of course, nationally, but definitely in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Maryland, and other places. And then everybody has an opportunity. And everybody that's these 1,000 plus, and it's on the. If you know somebody in the state of Virginia, you could do something. Send them a text, remind them to vote, because really we've got to treat it like a general election, because the power, the impact is not just about redistricting. It is really about a test to see if the kind of lies and misinformation, the fact that I was just a few minutes before I went on that NACP call, you look on television, you see President Obama and on a television commercial saying no, and he didn't say no. So you also understand that because of this lawlessness, even when it comes to what you see on television, because you're not supposed to be able to do that. Am I wrong, Congresswoman? You're not supposed to be able to do that. But in this administration, anything goes. The FCC is not doing anything about those kind of lies.
Well, they don't have people.
Exactly.
He hadn't appointed people on there to have a quorum.
Doesn't even do anything, right? So being able to just be able to watch that and know this is a lie, but you're on the network. Somebody's paying for those commercials, right? And that kind of stuff. But the churches, our campuses, everybody got to weigh in. Call in to anybody you know in the state of Virginia. It is and I don't ever want to say it's a state of emergency, but it really is, right?
It absolutely is.
Yeah, if we sleep what's going on in Virginia, when it has the ability to just level the playing field, Because here's the deal. They said what the Democrats are doing. Well, this is one of the things that they're doing, and to be able to try to fight back. And I'm not being partisan. I'm just being a practicing without a license, because I know Cora Berry is on him, being a political scientist at the moment. I'm just talking about the facts, right?
You are sharing
And
the
the fact
facts.
is, the power is in our hands to at least slow down the backlash of what we've been going through for the past year and a half, close to a
This
year and a half.
is so helpful. And sisters, if you live in Virginia, or if you know someone who lives in Virginia, right now you can take action right now. There are 1,300 of us on this call. You can commit right now to texting anybody you know. If you live in Virginia, you need to text 10 people tonight. If you know somebody who lives in Virginia, text them and make sure they are informed, that they understand there's a lot of mis and disinformation. To get the information, they can go, they can follow any these critical organizations that you just heard Alencia speak on. Of course, you can follow Congresswoman McClellan. Make sure you are getting information. And as Sister Mel said, vote early. That is going to be so important. Voting early, because they're always going to try to have shenanigans on election day. So voting early is so critical, and it really matters. I just literally got a text message from one of my best friends in the world who lives in Virginia, who said, "Thank you so much for having information to clarify what is happening in Virginia." So what we are doing here tonight is actually working. Share the message. Sister Mel, thank you for popping on. Congresswoman McClellan, thank you so much for enlightening us, to talking to us about the state of the U.S. Congress, reminding us about this month being Black Maternal Health Month, the importance of health care, but reminding everyone to make sure that they are paying attention to this very critical vote that will happen on May 1st as it relates to the war on Iran, this illegal, unjust war on Iran. And we appreciate Sister Donna Brazil, who shared some stats in the chat about just the disapproval ratings from America on this ongoing war with Iran. And finally, thank you for really giving us facts as it relates to the special election. And thank you for the work that you continue to do. We always love it when you come, and you're always welcome to come back. Could you tell everybody how we can follow you?
Yes. So on my official side, I'm at Rep McClellan on all the socials. And on the non-official side, I'm at Jen, 2 N's, McClellan VA.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Sisters, very critical information. If you haven't been following, this month is not only Black Maternal Health Month, but it is also Black Women's History Month. And we are so honored to share some Black women's history with you tonight with this very special conversation with Washington, D.C.'s forever First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, and being joined by Sister Melanie Campbell. And we are so honored to share with you a documentary that has recently been released that chronicles the life, the impact, and the work of our forever First Lady, Cora Masters Berry. Now, this documentary sheds so much about her remarkable life, growing up, her work as a young college student, her work in leadership around the women's the Million Man March, her leadership in pouring into our youth with the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center, Blacks on Wax, and her time as a boxing commissioner. So we are delighted to show 3 extended clips of this documentary tonight. We will share with you in the chat how you can watch the entire documentary, and then we'll be in conversation with our forever First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, and Melanie Campbell. Let's roll the first clip.
If you want to be a leader, you have to stand for something. And you got to be willing to sacrifice and pay the price.
I want to bring the First Lady of the District of Columbia, Mrs. Cora Masters Berry.
I stand today before you honored and humbled, first and foremost as a child of the Creator. Of course, that's what we all are, despite our seemingly differences of color, religion, culture. I also want to say to you that I stand before you as the mother of two brilliant, beautiful, strong, moral, and committed young women, Lalania and Tamra. But my presence here today is because I am the First Lady of the District of Columbia. That is why I was asked to be here.
My mother was actually born in Oklahoma.
Cora Masters Berry didn't have a choice but to be the powerhouse who she is. It was already in her DNA. When we think about Black women who ran for president, we automatically go to Shirley Chisholm, but we cannot leave out Cora Masters Berry's mother, Isabel. Cora Masters Berry's mother ran for president of the United States, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times.
Some may say that's a crazy woman run for president. She's Black, she's a woman, and she's old like our president drawing Social Security. But I think if God had meant for a woman to be relegated to the rear of a man, he would have taken that rib from Adam's back instead of his side.
Well, it tracks, right? She was raised by a woman who was extremely resourceful, including being a property owner in multiple states and raising her kids, her 6 kids, making sure all of them were college educated. What was modeled for my mom was the importance of education, the possibility of being extraordinary.
My mother moved us to California when I was 2 years old. She had gotten her bachelor's degree from Langston University. My father had come home from the Marines. She was very unusual. She wanted to teach school, but because she graduated from, at that time they called it a colored college, they wouldn't give her a full teaching certificate, so she had to go back and get training another year. So because she couldn't get a job, she moved us to a place called Jordan Down Projects in Watts, California. And we lived there for about 9 months, and then when she graduated, she started buying property and selling it. After those projects, we never lived in a house that we didn't own. And all of that, watching her move through society by flipping homes, being an independent, strong Black woman with an education, but yet also had an entrepreneur spirit and a fighting spirit, that's what it shaped who I am today.
That was a wonderful segment. We called that Rooted in Legacy. Let us now turn to our second clip, which we like to describe. This one is so amazing, everyone. It is truly historical to have a deep understanding of our forever First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, and so many other Black women's role in the Million Man March. Let us roll the second clip.
With Mrs. Berry, she's been the strategist, the one who's creating the blueprint, the one who is navigating the journey of how you're going to get to where you need to be, what you're trying to accomplish. She's been that person, and she's been amazing at it, and we see the proof of her labor. She was a significant part of what we saw with Marion Berry.
Marion won 1994, fourth historic comeback, 1995, sworn in January 2nd. And Minister Farrakhan came like about January 15th. He wanted to do the Million Man March. At a commemoration at Marion's gravesite about 5 years ago, Minister Farrakhan spoke of that day and his version of it. I sat down with the mayor, told my brother what I wanted to do. He said he was going to do whatever I wanted. The city was mine. And then Mrs. Berry got up and started working. That was his version. And it shocked me that he said that, because you know why? That's exactly what happened. Marion had the city to run. And one of the first hurdles were women being very upset about a Million Man March. And when I say women, I mean women who have power of the pen. People like my good friend Dr. Julianne Melville, they were all writing against the Million Man March. They had a whole thing about that. That's an example of a combination of a collaboration between me and my friend Dorothy Height. I had no problem with it. I understood it. But I also understood that he had a problem.
From that earliest day, I do not know where the African American family would be today without the contribution of African American women. I was here in 1963 for the March on Washington. I have to say that while it was a very inclusive march, that it was an occasion when not a single female voice was heard, except that of the beautiful singer Mahalia Jackson. But there was no speaker.
So Dorothy and I, the first thing we did was reached out to the minister and said, you know, we're going to bring some women together to look at what you plan to do with the Million Man March. Do you mind sharing with us? He said, oh, no, sister, whatever my sisters want. So we gathered on the second floor of the National Council of Negro Women with myself, Cedar Lois Tucker, Dr. Hyde, Nisha Muhammad, Barbara Williams Skinner, and I don't know, about 7 of us. And they faxed y'all his mission statement. We tore it up and sent it back. We said, well, that'll be the end of Women in the Million Man March. He accepted all of those edits except one. But the major one he accepted was the fact that the name change. It was called the Million Man March, a Day of Atonement. But what was added to it was
atonement and reconciliation, and to reach out to other people.
Reconciliation. That came from Barbara Skinner. A lot of people don't know that. So that started the journey we went on, to the point that on that day, about 7 women spoke on the Million Man March. While we were getting ready for that, the minister called me, said, I want to talk to you. Will you come to dinner? We were sitting there, but it's pretty much like a choir. He says something, everybody says, yes, sir. He said to me, and I love him so much, and he knows I imitate him, Sister Cora, I need you to get my people registered. I had registered 20,000 people for Marion's comeback, and he knew that. And I looked down and I said, I'm sorry, Minister Farrakhan, I can't do that. The whole room went still. And he said, sure enough? And I said, yeah, mister, no disrespect, all due respect, I just can't. He said, well, why? And I said, because you have been running around the country doing the pre-march meetings in different cities, registering black men. He called for 10,000 black men in Philadelphia, 10,000 black men in Trenton, 10,000 black men in LA. He did that, and it was great. But he was registering them as independents. And I said, I can't do that. I said, that works against our people. He said, well, I said, the parties determine who we're going to vote for. We don't have a say in who's going to be the nominee, then we have no say. I said, back in the day, it was called the white primary. You want me to send you a paper on that? He said, would you? I said, I will. And that's how it ended. And I did. I was teaching then at political science. I wrote a paper on the history of the black vote, sent it to him. He called me from a plane and said, I just read it. You know, I don't know nothing about all this. He said, but whatever you want to do, you can do it. I want you to chair the Million Man March voter registration drive, and I did.
Strong black men keep on a-coming. Strong black men just keep on a-coming. We love it.
Now, if you learn something new, write it in the chat. Put a heart in the chat or share something that struck you when you saw that clip. And I see you in the chat. Everyone is saying you are loving all of these clips. You are loving all of this history. I can't wait to bring this sister up because she has such an extraordinary impact. Let us roll the last clip, which I have entitled Investing in Our Future.
I'm going to give a Coraism. She says this best when she says, if you want to know how these current times are going to turn out, read a book or a Bible. And I say that to women everywhere, especially black women, to say, stay planted.
Well, everything that I've ever done in my life has been very organic. I did not have a great plan for my life. I just followed the Spirit, and when I started learning how to hear God, I started following the Holy Spirit, because sometimes my spirit takes me over there. One day I was riding down the street and I saw this vast field, and it looked like there were some poles, you know, like the tennis poles. I said, somebody used to play tennis. And our goal was just to go places and put in stuff to keep our kids off the streets, boxing gyms. We did all of it. And then I did a little research and found out there actually used to be some tennis courts, so we built 7 tennis courts there. And then one day, I used to come, and he used to come. We used to play on the courts in the morning before he'd go off and all. I used to watch the kids come play, and they were fighting after it was over, or flipping the bird, or doing stuff you're not supposed to do, because, you know, I come from a pretty much middle-class family. I didn't come up no place where people settle things on the corner. So I said to the coach, I said, well, I think you should kick them off the court and kick them out of the program. And he said, oh, I can't do that, Mrs. Berry. And I said, why? And he said, because where would they go? And the Holy Spirit said, build a building.
Well, I think a leader first has to be a visionary, because they have to rise above the crowd. I really first met Cora Masters Berry when Cicely Tyson had a school named after her in New Jersey. And it was a fundraiser as well, so they also auctioned off some items as fundraising items. And Cora donated the 2 tennis rackets of the Williams sisters when they played in the US Open in 2008. And I bought them. And so then actually Susan Taylor, formerly of Essence Magazine, who was a friend of mine, said, oh, Reggie, you should meet Cora. She has this program for kids here in DC. I know how you want to support. I was expecting her just to come and ask me for money for her school, which everybody does all the time. But she was quite wise. She says, no, I don't want your money now. I want you to come and see the program.
This will be Cora's greatest legacy, will be the investment that she made in youth. And for those who know history understand that even what we've enjoyed with the Marion Berry Youth Leadership Institute, you can look right back to Cora Masters Berry. You see her handprints all over this program that has continued for generations. I was in the Marion Berry Youth Leadership Institute.
Cora Masters Berry is continuing a tradition that I know very well, because this is how we grew. We had teachers who taught us this way. That's the greatest gift we can give a young person, is the understanding and the experience that they are smart.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. What a legacy, what a life, such impact. Let us welcome back to the Win with Black Women stage. She is truly an OG and an inspiration to Win with Black Women, one of our sage leaders. Let us welcome back to the Win with Black Women stage our forever First Lady, Cora Masters Berry, and joining her, Sister Melanie Campbell. Hello. Wow. I want you to just pause and see all the conversation in the chat right now. All the conversation in the chat. Sisters are saying that they have learned so much, that they are so inspired. So I want to first start off exactly, sister who said Black excellence, all caps. I want to first start off by saluting you and thanking you, because not only have you your entire life poured into community, you have poured into the parts of community that people often want to pretend does not exist nor matter. And you have intentionally always made those that have been pushed to the furthest margins of our society, you have reached and put them in the center. And you have elevated them. And you have taken microphones that were given to you and handed it to them. And you do it with grace. You do it with knowledge and love. And you also have poured into a generation of young women who look up to you, including myself, Sister Mel Campbell, and so many other sisters. And so I want to personally thank you for your love, for your mentorship, and your incredible leadership. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for those kind words. I was watching, this is actually
the second time I've actually watched the video. It's kind of interesting.
Well, I want to start there with you because this documentary is both a declaration and a reflection. And I know you personally, and I think anybody who knows you know that you kind of like to stay a little on the back and do all the work, and you don't want to be out there too much. Why is it important that this story is told?
Well, I think if we don't save and tell and write and show our history, it disappears. And one section of this documentary that I think is essential is the understanding and the knowledge that there were women who were very much a part of the Million Man March, not just in terms of, and we'll talk about it a little later, voter registration or speaking, but actually on the stage of the Million Man March, the person who was running the show, the showrunner was Barbara Williams Skinner with the headphone on. The organization and the planning of the Million Man March was in several rooms, and most of the women that were up there doing, most of the people up there doing it were women. A lot of people don't know that. And that would have stayed a big secret. We would have been behind the scene until we insisted upon being up front, at least on that stage that day was Dorothy Height, Rosa Parks, Betty Shabazz, Queen Mother Moore, a young girl who was 12 years old, the granddaughter of Sister Claudette Muhammad. And we were the ones, and of course, the inimitable Maya Angelou. So we were the ones who spoke that day. And a lot of people don't remember that. They don't remember women of the Million Man March. And on that day, women were on the grounds registering people was women.
So powerful. Sister Mel, I want to bring you in here because it's so striking. And I think a lot of sisters were in the chat and they were like blown away by the fact that, Black women played such a critical role, not only in the Million Man March, but around this massive voter registration movement. And the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation was a critical part of that. And that actually was a part of your meeting and the beginning of your relationship. Can you share what it's been like, or one, walk us back into that history? Because we didn't necessarily see it in the documentary, but it very much exists. And also, what has it been like for you over these years being in mentorship and partnership with our Forever First Lady?
Well, first of all, that when I finally slowed down to watch it, I was like, Cora, you gotta hit the road and tell this story.
Yes.
Right? Because we don't tell our stories, and there's so much even more. It's not a long piece, but it's so powerful. You looking for more, and I think that's what's important. I moved to Washington D.C. and started my job as a deputy director on August 15th, 1995. And my first job assignment was to work with Mrs. Carlotta Scott, the late Carlotta Scott, brought Cora and some other folks, I can't remember who all was there, to the office, and they were meeting with my executive director, James Ferguson, who's also passed on, and talking about this Million Man March. And long story short, I ended up working. My first job assignment was to help. Mrs. Berry co-chaired the voter registration for the Million Man March, which was not just what happened on the mall, but what happened before people came. You had the motor voter law that had been passed in the early 90s. It allowed for you to use that federal form. And I think it was the first massive opportunities to use that voter registration form to register people before they came to Washington, D.C. We opened an office on 8th Street and used that as the headquarters. And I can remember I was able to sit on the steps. We organized, and Cora, I forgot the sister's name that from Southeast that was real.
Rosalind Stiles.
Right. And organize all these volunteers. And we used to have the big orange buttons, Operation Big Vote. And so what we did was, because there were in every city, there was the local organizer committees. And so we organized from the bottom up. And so we organized through the LOCs for them to register people before they even got on the buses and register them while they were on the buses. We registered them when they got here. And because we had that federal form, it didn't matter. You can register them and take care of it. And so we registered thousands and impacted really millions. And the Joint Center, if you go back in history and look at the Joint Center, wrote an article after the 96 election and credited the Million Man March for Black men and Black women voted. Black men voted higher than they had ever voted before, and they credited for the Million Man March. And so that was my start, and that's how I met Dr. Height, and that's how I met C. Dolores Tucker, and because you had the Black and Barbara Skin and so many others who Willie Barrow, and the names just keep coming. And of course, I didn't know Cora knows, I didn't know I would be still doing this work this long. But it was my start on a national level, and was mentored by Cora, and we fight all the time, but we love each other.
And we all love you so much. I want to transition to talk about the clip in which we saw just a small portion of the work that you have done to invest in young people. What people did not see in this documentary, and it is a documentary short, it is fully 28 minutes long. I promise you, I watched it multiple times. It is so great, as Sister Mel says, that it leaves you wanting more. And there was excerpts, and we saw Senator Angela Alsobrooks, we saw LaToya Foster, we also saw in the documentary, but we didn't see it in a clip tonight, but Tamika Mallory speaking on how you've poured into young people, but also the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center. A lot of people don't know, and I think it was so wonderful in that history that you just saw a plot of land and God pulled on your heart and said, go build. And then you went and built a $30 million tennis center in Southeast Washington, D.C. Can you talk to us about that?
Well, in the documentary, we talk about, I got a spiritual revelation. And for those of you who are spiritual, understand God speaks to you if you could just listen. And he said, build a building. And to be quite honest, I was like, I don't know nothing about building no building. I've never done any Legos. And I just pushed back. That was in July. And I just want to say this for the record. I didn't have any intention of following that. I'm just, Mignon says I'm always too honest. And I was scared. I wasn't going to do that. And then in October, Dr. Dorothy Height, an 85-year-old woman, kicked off a capital campaign for $25 million to build to pay for the building of the National Council of Negro Women. And we were very active in that day. The street was blocked off. Every woman from Hillary Clinton to Betty Shabazz, every Black woman and prominent white woman in the country was there to support her. And when I left there, I talked to God, and I was embarrassed that I, as a younger woman, was afraid to move on his direction. And here's this 85-year-old woman who's kicking off a $25 million campaign. And from that point on, I started working to raise the money to build the campaign. So once again, I just want to give that credit to Dorothy Height, because she's the one who inspired me to take on what God had put in front of me. My purpose of being a first lady, I was not a typical one. I didn't do a lot of the things. I didn't kiss babies. I didn't do teas. I didn't go to galas. Wasn't interested in that. I started an organization called the Recreation Wish List Committee, and our goal all my term was to just put in recreation opportunities for kids and get them off the street and save their lives. And so when I built the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center, the whole goal was not just to do tennis. That's why learning's in there. And if you've ever been there, the building is directly divided between tennis and conditioning, and on the other side, education and arts. And so what inspired me is that my whole life has always, one way or the other, even with the Boxing Commission, is converged in empowering young people. But I wanted to do it differently. So the Southeast Tennis and Learning Center is not your typical place. I have one goal and one goal only. I have a theme that says tennis is the key, but tennis is the hook, but education is the key. And my goal is every single day, and I mean every single day, that those kids walk in that building, when they walk out, they learn something they didn't know before they went in.
So that's more than just sports. So you save lives not just by giving kids a place to play, but you also invest in them changing from the inside who they are. But that was just one of the things that was a part of my journey. And that became a part of everything else that I did. It was all kind of, I don't know. I told you, I was led by the Spirit. I didn't have a grand plan.
Well, the Spirit has certainly led you, and by answering the Spirit, you have changed and impacted so many lives. Sister Mel, looks like you wanted to say something.
And Mrs. Barry, aren't you doing an expansion? And
22
y'all,
million.
and if y'all, and she not gonna ask. If y'all loving what you see, write a check, make a contribution to the work that she's doing. That's another one of my blessings that I've been able to see and be a part of what she does over there. And I saw in the chat somebody said, I live here, I haven't been over there. If you have not been to the Southeast Citizen Learning Center, you got to go over there. And you're doing an expansion now. And that's part of your legacy, in my opinion. And so I think part of it is, if there's any way, if you're feeling good about what you saw, give to the Southeast Tennessee. I guess it would be to the Recreation SETLC.
Recreationwishlist.com.
Yes.
Absolutely. And we will share those links in the chat. Before you go, I want to ask you this last question. What is one lesson about power and leadership that you feel that our generation must truly understand?
I guess I would answer that from the perspective of as an elder, as an auntie or whatever title you want to call me. I'm proudly want to be 81 years old in a couple of weeks. So I claim that, and I thank God for that. I thank God that I am 81, that I know I'm 81, and I'm still doing all the things that I can do to help. I think my greatest challenge in trying to pour into other generations or younger generations of women, you have to know that you don't what you don't know, and you have to help people learn how to listen. And that's been a very big challenge, to try to show them first and teach them as much as you can through example and any other way that there's nothing new under the sun. And that was the basis of my relationship with Tamika Mallory. When she first came out on the scene and she was having all of those problems, she would call me and she would be like, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. I said, I've seen this before. This is not new. They did it to Martin Luther King, but you grow from your adversity. So people need to understand that when you have adversity, that builds you. It doesn't break you down. It gives you a breath to come back up and come stronger. So don't ever let anything that seems difficult stop you.
That's such powerful advice. Now, sisters, we have done this before in this Win with Black Women community. When the Little Mermaid, when they was shenanigans with the Little Mermaid, on opening weekend, we bought out 100 theaters. For The Perfect Neighbor, we had 100 viewing conversations across the country. I am convinced that we can have 500 watch parties and conversations on this documentary. The documentary is on YouTube. It is entitled When Women Lead, Cora Masters Berry. It is 28 minutes long, and you just saw 3 short clips. There's so much more. She was a professor and a boxing commissioner. Yes, she has made history in boxing. Boxing today and how the boxing world operates is largely influenced by our forever First Lady, Sister Cora Masters Berry. So we are going to make sure that we will send out to you on the Win with Black Women listserv the link for you to be able to watch this. But we see you in the chat, and I've gotten all the text messages because someone texted and said, we need to do watch parties like we've done before. We will work with Sister Cora Masters Berry and her team, and we will hopefully be able to come and launch watch parties and conversations across the country, and asking you to invite some sisters or friends. And it doesn't just have to be women, because our young people, our brothers, our partners, everyone should see this. We can watch it You can have some cookies and some ginger ale or whatever it is, and then have a conversation about it, and then donate to the recreational wish list. So that is something that we would love to partner with you and any other organization who wants to partner, to make sure that we not only understand our history, but recognize that our history is living, and that not only can we learn from it, because there is nothing new under the sun. That is another chorism. And that we can take what we have seen in history and build upon it. I want to thank you both. Yes,
Joe
Sister
Taker,
Mel.
real quick. Cora, correct me, but this was also produced by Black folk, right?
Oh, yes, this was PBS and WHUT.
Yes, I want to make sure.
Howard University Television.
We got to tell our own stories. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. We look forward to working and partnering with you. I want to see 500 watch parties and conversations across the country. Thank you so much, sisters. We'll make sure we get this out to you, and we'll put in the chat tonight the links where you can donate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, sisters, moving right along, you know, Black women are writing books, and the books are great. We are super excited to bring up this next dynamic, amazing sister who has been a political strategist for very many, many, many years, who just authored a dynamic book, The Instigators. Let us welcome to the Win with Black Women stage, Sister Atima Omara. Hello, how are you? I love it. You came with your merch, sis.
Yes.
You got the book right back there. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And in this night of history makers and the history of Black women, you have penned a great book about instigators. We just got off right before you. Our segment was with two amazing instigators that always gets us in good trouble. Tell us about this book and your inspiration for writing it.
Yeah, so the inspiration for this was, through most of my years of work on campaigns and working for candidates and organizations and various causes, and really always finding Black women as the backbone of the community, thinking about sort of my own experience growing up, and how I was inspired into Black political work specifically. But really, the moment kind of hit me where I thought somebody needs to write something like this. When 2019 happened, I'm a Virginian, and it was like 2019 to 2021. And during that period of time, Black women who were elected officials, who were candidates, who were working in state government, who were activists on the ground, really pushed for a lot of the seismic policy changes that we've seen in Virginia. Why everybody calls us an amazing standard in the South, for the New South progressive policy. We got rid of our death penalty. We legalized marijuana. We have a Voting Rights Act in Virginia, thanks to now Congresswoman McClellan, but at that time, State Senator Jennifer McClellan, because of the work of Black women and these women who are instigators. And I thought, what if people actually listened to Black women for real and not when our country's on fire? Because that was a very, traumatizing time for a lot of us between 2019 and blackface and 2020 and the pandemic, and of course the murder of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter uprisings. All of this happened, and that's when everybody's like, okay, let's listen to Black people, let's listen to Black women specifically. And then, well, as we've noticed in these last few years, that's kind of ebbed, and it's like, all right, why don't you ever actually listen to us? And if you did, all of these amazing things could happen, because when we come together, when we're at the table, and the research and the data shows this, when we're at the table, better things happen for everyone. We lift all boats when we're at the table. And so I put that in this book, tying together the history of amazing Black women from the past, some that we know, like Mary McLeod Bethune and Shirley Chisholm. and then tying it to women who are doing amazing work today, and that asserting that we cannot have a discussion about an inclusive multiracial democracy. We cannot plan a better world without Black women in the strategy rooms, in media, leading organizations, serving in government, and actually being listened to. And that we are the best equipped to fight authoritarianism and build a more inclusive democracy because we've done that in the history of this country. We've built democracy. So that is what this book is about. It's meant to be hopeful. It's a love letter to us, but it's also a hopeful book so that our non-Black colleagues can read this and say, okay, here's what we can learn from them and how we can work alongside them as thoughtful partners in building a better America.
This is so powerful and so beautiful. Right now, the numbers keep growing, so it keeps growing, but more than 330,000 Black women out of the workforce. Some may never return. What do you say to Black women who see these statistics right now and who may feel, or they may not, they may still be in the workforce, but feeling the pressure, seeing the pressure, who may feel like, oh gosh, like it's so much I want to give up? What do you say to them, learning from particularly historical instigators and your research about how they survived in tough times as well?
Yeah, I mean, I write about Fannie Lou Hamer. I write about, a lot of folks always talk about her testimony before the DNC Credentials Committee when she was demanding that her delegation, her multiracial delegation that she came with from Mississippi, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, should be seated instead of the all-white delegation. She talks about how she was beaten in jail, how she was crying for her life, how she was sexually assaulted, and that happened to many of these Black women. I read about Mary McLeod Bethune and how she, even though Black women were barred from voting in Florida in the South, where she was doing most of her work, that she still went about registering Black women and stared down the Klan who came after her to basically terrorize her and to stop doing that work. So what I've always taken from these stories and what was inspirational to me when I was reading it and some of the stuff I didn't know and was just amazed, but also just honestly like thinking of what kind of always inspired me along in my work was there have been times that have been harder in this country. There have been times when we've stepped up and we've organized and it really meant pain of death. It meant sexual assault. It meant torture. And it meant going against the system that was literally built to try and keep us small. And they still pushed and they built this world that some of them never saw, right? And so how do we take inspiration from them to continue that work in whatever way we feel that we can contribute as donors, as organizers, as mentors, whatever that is, and whatever we have the capacity to give. How can we not, honestly?
How can we not? Well, thank you so much. Can you share with everyone how we can pre-order this book, how we can get our hands on a copy of this book, how we can get in touch with you if we want to get bulk sales of this book or invite you to speak and have a bunch of your books wherever you are speaking?
Yes, well, the book comes out May 5th. It's out from HarperCollins. You can go to the Instigators Book, all one word.com. It's going to be available in all of the stores, Amazon, Barnes& and Noble, go to your local Black bookseller. And all of the information is all there if you want to either order bulk buy, you want to request to have me speak. We are also having a big launch event if you're in the DC metro area on Sunday, May 3rd. For those of you who are, especially who are Deltas, you'll probably know the event planner, Brandolyn, the Joy Builder. Anderson, she's putting together the event. She worked on the building, the Bond event. And she'll be doing my book launch event in DC. It'll be a wonderful Sunday brunch from 11 to 2, May 3rd. Tickets are available on her website and also on my Instagram account. So you can like see that there and stay abreast of all the developments for that. So yeah, those are the best ways to support is like really going to the instigatorsbook.com. Pre-ordering is so important, especially for authors, especially for Black authors. I want to make it possible for the success of my book that other Black authors who are writing in the political space. We need more Black women political writers out there. We're like, there's so many who have been laid off in political media, and in journalism, and it's just important to see our voices out there. So definitely support this book, and support the amazing voices that are in it. And there are some great young women who are doing great work that I write about who are doing work today. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, my sister, we here at Win with Black Women, we thank you and appreciate you for writing this book. We thank you for your ongoing work, but we recognize and know the power of pre-sales. Sisters, we know how it works. We've got to make sure that we get as many pre-sales because we know the strategy is that very first week, 2 weeks is critical. And so we want to make sure that it's just like voting, like how we need to vote early.
Yeah.
Let's pre-sale and download and buy these books early, particularly when we do so, it sends a strong message that we want to see more work like this. And when the next Black woman walks in that has a book that's similar to this, that Black woman is going to get her book published. And that is what we're trying to do, is making sure that we all win, and that not only when we walk through doors that we keep them open, but as Donna Brazil always remind us, making sure that we take the hinges off. Sister Atima, thank you so much. Sisters, we will be sharing the link for how you can download this book. Make sure you go to the instigatorsbook.com where you can pre-order this book, but you can also be in touch so that Atima can come and speak to your organization. Or if you want, and you have a conference coming up and you want to have this in your conference bag, this is a great book for you to bring along. So all of that information is there. Sister Atima, you are always welcome back here. Thank you so much for writing this book, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jotega. And I saw a couple questions in the chat asking about audiobook. I have also recorded the audiobook, so if you prefer listening, that is also will be available on May 5th as well. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And we're keeping Black women's history alive. Someone said that in the chat. Tonight, the theme is our history. Thank you so, so, so much. Thank you. And we look forward to having you back.
Yeah. Thank you, Jotega.
Well, sisters, we are always happy to have these two Win with Black Women OGs on with us. And tonight they are going to talk about a very important initiative that Win with Black Women is so proud to partner on with our sisters in the Black Women's Leadership Collective. Some work that is so important and so powerful, our work to make sure that we are registering voters across this country. Let us welcome to the Win with Black Women stage, Sister Karen Finney and Sister Holly Holiday.
Hello.
And the chat goes, wow, they always love to see you so much. It's been a beautiful night. It's just so many history makers and so many Black women who are in history. I will have
and so much around voter registration. It was a complete setup for us. I was
know, right?
He done inspired. Jotega done put together the voter registration lineup so we could come in and close the deal. You go, girl.
It's a whole theme here tonight. And speaking of voting, I would have to say, Karen Finney, I do like my streaming platforms, and I'm a Paradise girl. So for some reason, it just stayed. My television has stayed on Hulu, but I watched this amazing documentary on Hillary Clinton. And as I was watching the documentary, I believe it is called Hillary, and it is a
Yes.
fascinating documentary. And as I was watching the documentary, who did I see being interviewed? Mignon Moore. And who did I see all just doing all this work, all of this? I was like every scene. Karen was running communications. So Karen
Yes,
Finney, I saw you so many times. So if you have not watched Hillary on Hulu, make sure you watch it. You will see some familiar faces, and you will see Karen Finney really. If you ever wonder, like, Karen Finney in action, you can see it up close and personal. I want to turn it over to both of you about voter registration.
Thank you so much, Joteka, and thank you for watching that documentary. This is perfect because we've heard about the importance of what's coming up in Virginia. And so I know everybody got their marching orders on that. We've heard about the history that our Black women have been making and the women who are part of telling those stories and bringing these stories to the forefront. And this effort is really centered around the trust and leadership that Black women, we play and occupy a very unique space in our culture, in our communities, and in our country. And we know that because we know we're the 92%. And there is a reason that when everybody else is getting all the disinfo, like we still know what to do and we get it right. And so this program, this simply stated, we are trying to register 1 million new Black voters. 1 million stronger, y'all, by 2028. But we are starting now because we know that it's going to take more than a single conversation or a single, social media post. We've got to start reaching out to our networks now because this is about building Black power, and it's about building engagement that lasts beyond a single election cycle, because that's how we really get more money in our communities. We get our jobs back. It's how we will fight back against racism and discrimination and white nationalism and the things that are literally strangling our future and our opportunity. This is how building power through registering is one of the ways we are going to do it. And of course, Holly and I, when I had this initial thought and I talked to Holly, we were like, yeah, let's start with the most trusted messengers in our communities. And who is that? Black women, right? So that's part of why we are coming to you, Women with Black Women, and the 11 other organizations that are part of the Black Women's Leadership Collective, as well as, y'all may know, BWLC, we have a chapter in North Carolina and Virginia. They're part of it too. And this is really about, and by the way, all together, these 12 orgs and our chapters, we reach over 19 million Black women. So you can't tell me 1 to 10, 10 to 100, we're going to get to 1 million, y'all. We're going to do this. And so that's really what this is about. You will see we have really designed this effort to be simple, low barrier to entry, because we want to make people feel comfortable. We want it to be real and based, and we want to acknowledge that people are skeptical. We want to acknowledge what people are feeling, particularly our younger voters who, we've got to get young voters. I should just say most of y'all on this call are younger than me. So y'all are young, all young voters to me, but with a few exceptions in the back row. But really, this is also about just acknowledging that we're frustrated and that we have the power to make change, and we have the answers within our own selves and our own communities. And we know systems have been built, without us in mind, and frankly, to work against us all throughout history. And we still have always found ways to organize and mobilize around that. And so this is no different, but I hope you enjoy it. I hope it feels simple. I'm going to have Holly talk a little bit about how it works. And this will be launching this week. We're very excited. It's 1 million Black Voters Rising.org. We hope will be the web address. So Holly, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, listen, first of all, let me shout out everybody who's shouting us out in the chat. Thank you for that. And then also, Karen, you got them so excited before we could even tell them. They're like, what do we do? How do we sign up? How do we make it happen? Well,
People are
listen.
volunteering.
I know,
They're
they're
asking
ready.
for
They
materials
volunteering.
and
We ain't even
resources.
told them
These
what to do
sisters
yet. See,
are
this is-
ready. Sisters are ready. They said, you know what? It wasn't that long ago that we raised $1.6 million in 100 minutes.
Hey, they
come
like,
on.
we've been waiting on y'all to tell us. Well, tonight is the night. So first,
They said, wait, we raised $1.6 million in 100 minutes. We should be able to register a million people.
A million people, come on.
Exactly. Well, listen, we got a QR code for you. So Joteka, I love a slide. So let's do the slide and put up the QR code. You can go to oh, that's not the right one. Okay, it's fine. So I put the link in the chat. This one works too, but that one is shorter. This is really simple. First of all, when we're Black women, we need you to sign up. We are looking for circle leaders. We are in our recruitment phase. So what we really need you to do is to share this information and help us find more circle leaders. As a circle leader, we're going to ask you to reach out to 10 members of your friends and family. These are the people who already live in your phone book, and to be responsible for making sure that they get registered to vote, that we are engaging them in conversation, that we are learning and connecting together, and most importantly, we are growing the movement. Right now, we are on the Grow the Movement page. Now, let me just put this out here. Karen, I hope I don't scare you. Some of you all may have seen. Some of you all may have seen that Roland Martin has issued a challenge of 1,000 Black men registering people. And I love that. I really do. I think it is amazing. But listen, sisters, if we can't get at least 1,000 people to sign up to be circle leaders,
yes,
what we've been doing. So if the men can do it, now we can do it. So
I love a friendly challenge.
So I'm just saying.
I love a loving, friendly challenge.
I'm just saying, do not let us get out here in these streets and look bad, sisters. We have to show up strong. We need to get at least 1,000 people signed up to be circle leaders, and you can share this graphic to help us do so. We need to make sure that we are in the know, because if we get 1,000 and each of those 1,000 get 10, we had 10,000 already. And that's just through this month. And if we keep building this list of circle leaders, because as we are engaging people, we're constantly recruiting more circle leaders. And here's the beauty of this. This is not a program where we're going to say we're only going to be in Michigan because it's a swing state. This program is for every state, no matter where you live. And guess what else? We're going to provide you with the tools and the links so you can register people wherever they live, which means you don't even have to have your circle of 10 just in your state. You can register them everywhere. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be huge. Now,
Holly, you're excited. I'm so excited to see you excited.
This is my whole life. I love this. Y'all know I'm in my bag. I'm in my bag. Now, here's the thing. 2 things I'm going to tell you, then I'm going to shut up. First thing I'm going to tell you is we need to get at least 1,000 sisters signed up by May, because in May, all of our organizational leaders are going to do a massive rally. And by that time, we need to have a virtual rally. Yes, a virtual rally with everybody. And we need to show up with our 1,000 sisters in tow at least. So help me make sure that happens. And the second thing that I'm going to tell you is, this is the Win with Black Women part. But y'all are about to hear 1 million Black voters rising everywhere, because Win with Black Women is doing it. NCNW is doing it. Higher Heights is doing it. The AKAs are doing it. The Deltas are doing it. The Zetas are doing it. The Sigmas are doing it. The Links are doing it. Everybody, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. I forgot my own people. Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote is doing it because we're all doing Power Rising.
Everybody's doing
Everybody's doing it.
it.
So listen, you do not want to miss it. You do not want to be left out. We already know when we're Black women, we sit on the front lines. And so I just want to say thank you in advance for all the wonderful things we are about to do. Please do not make us look bad in front of Roland. Help us get at least 1,000 women signed up.
Okay, sisters. Okay, here is a friendly challenge. There are 1,300 of us on this call literally right now. Now I know some people are, you got your bonnet on and you just watching it on TV and you might not have your phone, but I think at least 500 of us right now. And we go check because I know we can see it on the back end because we know Holly got the tech.
We have 162.
Okay.
Ooh,
we have
come on,
162
sisters.
right now. We at 162 right now, y'all. Now, if I was in the church, I'd say, ushers, close the doors. Ushers, close the door. Virtual ushers, close the doors. Sisters, this will only take you 2 minutes. Pull out your phone, scan the QR code. It's at 162. And then you can text this link to your chat. I'm getting ready to text it to my line sisters, 78 Forces of Fortitude. I'm gonna ask them to do it right now. And I'm gonna text it to one of my sister girl chat and my cousin's chat in South Carolina. And I'm gonna fill it out myself. But right now it's at 162. Let's try before the end of this call to have it at least 662. Can we do that? It is 1,300 of us on the call. That means only half of us taking action right now with everything that's at stake. All of our sisters that have been impacted, jobs, our sister representative LaMonica MacGyver being attacked. So much is happening because people did not vote. And we know that we are trusted messengers.
Yes.
So let's try right now. I know we can do it. And we got a special surprise that she has joined us on stage.
Hey.
Dr. Stacey C. Grant.
Dr. Stacey Grant is part of the movement.
Absolutely.
And the Zetas are part of the movement, by the way.
That's right. I'm so excited. Joe, take another powerful night to you and the Win with Black Women team. We're out here doing this together. So I see the blue hearts coming up. This is for all of my D9 family. I am the chair of the Council of Presidents for the Divine Nine. So I'm not just calling out the Zetas. I'm calling out every single member of the Divine Nine. We're going to make sure that we beat the record tonight, far exceeding above anything we could ask or think, family. That's why they're trying to take Black women down, because they know when we stand together, we are unstoppable. So let's not just put the hearts in the chat. Let's sign up. Let's meet our goal, exceed our goal. We're going to take things back. When women run the world, we'll get this place in order, because God has given us unique talents and skills to be able to utilize them in a way to protect one another, care for one another, work together, and get the job done. So I'm excited about this challenge. I'm excited about May. It's about to go down, as the song says. So Joteka, thank you, my sister, for always creating the platform to make this work happen. We do it because we're in community. We understand that the bloodshed of our foremothers and forefathers will not be disrespected on our watch. We're going to stand up for what they sacrificed so that we can have. So we can't look back and say, well, I don't know, it's so much going on. Can it change? That's the trick of the enemy, and not on our watch. We will not go back. We will not give up. We will continue to press forward and do what we've been positioned to do for such a time as this. So as Bishop Jakes would say, get ready, get ready, get ready. Go on and sign up. Join the circles. Let's get to 5,000. Forget 1,000. Let's go on and 5X it. so that we can do what we need to do, break all records. Roland, we thank you for your challenge, but
Thank you,
we're going to
Roland.
show you how we get it done. And we're going to get it done tonight because everyone is signing up. I see my Soras out there. You better represent. I want to see every Alpha Kappa Alpha member, Delta Sigma Theta member, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated member, and Sigma Gamma Rho in the building, and all of the brothers who love us in the D9. You better tell your wives, your girlfriends, your exes, I don't care who they are. Make sure they sign up for this challenge so that we can meet our numbers. That's all. I just stopped by to support my sister. Love y'all.
Love you. Love
this
Dr.
is so
Stacy.
beautiful.
I
This is
love
so
it.
Y'all, we got look,
And-
ushers,
and
keep
look-
the doors closed, ushers. Keep the doors closed, ushers.
Yes.
Y'all,
We
we got the QR code back up for Dr. Edwin
Come
Award.
on, y'all. We could do this.
Dr.
We can
Edwin
do
Award
this.
has
Now
been putting it in the chat. Now we want you to sign up, but we also want you to take that Bitly link and
That's
send it to your
right.
text group because they can sign up as well. Now,
right.
what number? Where are we at now, Sister Holly?
We are at 290.
Okay, we at
Wow.
290.
Come
We at
on.
290.
Come on.
Amazing.
We at
Going.
290, y'all. I know we can get to what's our goal? 662 by the end of this call.
You just and don't forget, y'all, we're trying to register our men, our women, our sisters, our brothers. It's everybody we're trying to register.
Everybody.
So
Yes. Wait,
And
it's
look-
662, right? Because it's
Yeah.
we tried to get 500. So we was at 162.
we just started with Black women, and because we know we're moving this through Black women because
That's
we know
right.
how we do.
That's right.
That's
Now,
right.
is
That's
this
right.
image available for us to drop this
Yes,
in the
it is.
chat? People take this and
Yes,
put it
I
in your
will- I
text
will
messages.
definitely.
Put it, I don't know if we want to put this out on social, so you let me know because some
Oh,
parts of the
yeah.
movement will not be televised.
Oh no, this well, listen, we're gonna share it amongst our friends, and our friends
Okay.
are following us. So let's do it.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Well,
We
thank
want
you
this
so
everywhere.
much.
Thank
Now,
you,
this was so
ladies.
much fun because you get a voter registration sign up, you get a voter registration sign up, you get a voter registration sign up. Everybody gets a voter registration sign up.
I love that.
1 million Black voters rising, brought to
That's
you
right.
by the Black Women's Leadership Collective. And somebody say, who is the Black Women's Leadership Collective? Say, all the Black women. That's who
All
it
All
is.
Black
of us.
women, yes.
All of us.
And I just want to answer one quick question because I see it in the chat. This is the sign up. So from here, we're going to move into registration, but we ain't registering people by shame and guilt and blame. We are registering people through power. We are
That's
registering
right.
people by building infrastructure, because whether we get to 1 million new voters this year or next year, even if in many communities, if we even increase 500 in a district, we change the landscape.
That's
So
right.
this is our building year, but Lord knows we coming for 2028. They're not going to be able to overlook us in 2028. And understand that right after that is the census in 2030, and we're already going to be set and established. This is how we build power. It happens one sister at a time, but one
Right.
sister gets 10 sisters, and 10 sisters get 100 sisters, and so forth and so on till we get to 1 million plus. Who knows? We'll probably break 1 million knowing us.
I think we
We
could
will.
definitely do it. So, ushers, there has been a request from the congregation. They say, can we please put the QR code back up? And Sister Carrie Edwards asked, every time we meet, can we get an update? So there has been a request for
we
a
can.
1 million
Right.
Black voters rising update every time we meet. So Sister Karen, Sister Holly, we would love it. Any of the sisters to come and give an update. But congregation, the QR code is back up. And just to clarify, this is for a commitment for you to be a volunteer to create a circle of 10. And you will create a circle of 10 people. It could be your cousins, your sisters, your friends. It could be your co-workers. It could be men. It could be women. It could be your exes. Like, you could just say, you know what? I got 10 exes. I got a circle of
Hey.
exes. I'm gonna make sure they voting.
There you go.
That's right.
I love it.
It could be anybody.
Can I just real quickly, because I see a couple of things in the chat. we didn't get into the weeds, but on the back end of this, we're working with vote.org. So yes, the tools that you will use, we will make sure the people you're sending this to, who then come through and register, they will get the right rule. They'll get the right state, the right rules, the right calendar. Like, we will make people, we're doing this in such a way that, because I saw Queen Gayleen said, the rules change state by state. Yes, they do. So we have thought of that, and this is designed to make sure we are using the tools to help make sure we are on point, because we know the devil comes in many forms.
I love it. Somebody said, well, Rollins Group can reach out to my ex. we gotta reach everybody.
We're gonna make sure
leave no stone unturned.
No stone unturned. And listen, we're gonna make sure that you have the tools to find folks. We know this is not easy. So this is the first step. But just know we're going to be with you every step of the way. We're going to be providing updated tools, information. There's going to be a ton of trainings for you to attend. You're going to have everything you need to make it happen. And listen, these are things that you can do in the street or the couch or any place in between, because we're making it that easy. No person left behind. We want to make sure that we're reaching out to everybody. This isn't just about the people in the organizations. By the way, right. We love our organizations, we do, but we created this to be one family. What do you say, Dr. Grant? One band, one sound.
One band, one sound, baby.
And we need all the people.
All of them.
Absolutely. Well,
and here, can I just add this one thing, Joteka, before I know we're getting ready to close? Think about the people who are at the hair salon with you when you're getting your hair done, when you're getting your nails did, when you're going into the supermarket and you're shopping for your eggs and your milk. Make some new friends. I know there's a song that says no new friends. Right now, we need all the friends. We need everybody to create circles. So think outside of just our organizational structures, calling out my Link sisters, calling out my Jack and Jill family. Everybody needs to be on deck so that we can energize the base of voter registration and mobilization. This is how we do it together. No one gets left behind. I don't care about your degree, pedigree. God already authorized you to do with what you have. God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Mark Batterson put that in his book. So everybody in this circle is qualified to go out and find 10 people. And you may not like them initially, but you might love them after you start the circle. That can be some healing. 10 people, get your circle started so that we can go out and get our numbers. I'm going to behave. Sorry, Joteka, back to you.
I love it. I think I'm really going to challenge myself to see, could I do me a circle of, I don't know if I have 10 exes, but I'm going to see.
Well, you know what? Get those people in your lives. Those of us who are aunties, professional aunties, get them people in their lives to be hitting you up for that gas money. That's trying to buy that college book, that's looking for that summer intern. We really do also want to have an intentional effort to include young people. And guess what? Young people can get their own circle of 10 too. So sign them up to be circle leaders. Let's get everybody involved. If you're in a state where we have voting rights for returning citizens, they can get a circle of 10 too. Come on, everybody. This is for everybody. We made it simple and easy so anybody could get involved.
I saw some Jamaican flags. Big up to all my yard of them. All of my Caribbean family. Everybody, we know how it is about voting. And if you can vote in this country, them that try tech where, make sure you get your 10. Okay, let me get out of my vernacular.
I love it. Shout out to my Midwestern states. I got to give my Midwestern states in there. I saw some shout outs to Kansas City. They usually don't want to register us in Missouri or Kansas or Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois. You see all these Midwest states? They call them the flyover states. We're going to call them the voter registration states. If you're from any of those states, I want you to make sure you sign up, because we're going to show up on the map. We're going to show up on the map.
Absolutely. I just flew back in from Detroit this morning.
We got Hawaii. We got all kind of folks. Thank you,
Where's
everybody.
My sister in Alaska? I know we got
to go, but thank you.
Alaska represented too? What?
Yeah.
Wow. We can do this.
We can do this. We've got it. Look, so Sister Jacqueline said she already sent the email to 5 relatives in Virginia. Chicago is signed up. Look, we have already tonight, sisters. I know by the end of the night, we're going to have 662 of you committing to creating a circle of 10. And we've already discussed we can have multiple circles of 10 because I mean, I'm gonna have my cousins, my line sisters, my food group friends,
Shout out to my mom
too.
in the chat. She said Missouri is signed up. Come on, mommy.
Yes,
Okay, I
mommy. How
love
you
it.
doing, mommy? Puget
And
Sound. I see y'all have said somebody said they
look,
sent it to their social action committee. We are on it tonight. Sisters, I know we could be on
got it.
here all night just shouting out because you know this is what we love to do. Thank you so much, Karen, Finney, Holly, Holiday, Dr. Stacy, NC Grant, the Black Women's Leadership Collective. Ushers,
Yes.
thank you so much. Thank you
Love
so
you.
much, ushers. If you need to depart, you can depart, but do not depart. We ask that you strongly consider before you depart signing up to have a circle of 10. Thank you so much. We'll keep dropping the link in the chat so that we can hit that goal tonight. Our goal is to get 500 of us. There are 1,300 of us on this call right now. So if less than half of us register and fill out this form tonight, it will take you less than a minute to fill out that form to sign up. So we're going to keep dropping it in the chat. We have gotten to the end of our agenda, but before we close out in the spirit, let us welcome to the Win with Black Women stage. She keeps us informed and in the know. Let us welcome the amazing Chantel Mullen.
Hey, Joe Taker, how are you? Well, I got a few announcements that I would like to share with everybody. So let's, as they say on the internet, get into it. Our next Win with Black Women Sunday call, and this will be the last call of the first quarter. So we're going to have some new dates for you. But our next call will be April the 26th. So go ahead and mark that on your calendar. And as always, you can use the standard bit.ly link where you can sign up for our next Sunday call. You know what? It's 4 days to Power Rising. Look at this. Look at all of this blackness. Look at all of this beauty. Look at that Stacy Grant right there. Just Stacy. Look at all of these sisters. That's Holly. Look at that. All of Sister Melanie. Girl, I know her. Wait. The Pride. Look at all of this. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton. We are going to be in the space and in the place. You got about an hour and a half if you want to go to Power Rising. The registration closes tonight. You see the link. If you're trying to go and see all of those fabulous sisters, you better get on it because there's only an hour left, hour and a half. Don't forget to save the date. NCNW National Convention, October the 21st through the 25th. That is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation has some more opportunities available. They have just released the application for their fall 2026 internship, and the application deadline is June the 26th. They also have some other opportunities. If you go over and visit the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation website, make sure, they've got that fellowship. They've got the John R. Lewis Social Justice Policy Fellowship and some other internships. So you might know a young person or not so young person who wants to take advantage of these opportunities. Share, share, share. Our good sister Soul, she is going to have a free Soulful Sanctuary retreat on April the 25th. As always, it's 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and she's going to be joined by Dr. Tracy Riviera and Dr. Nadine Watson. So there's always a good time to be held with Sister Spice. So join her on April the 25th. Our Federal Workers Initiative, They are going to be meeting April the 16th, April the 23rd, and April the 30th, always from 7 to 9. And you can use the link to sign up and join them. So what's happening in the States? We've got Texas is meeting April the 20th. Arizona will be meeting the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. Washington State will not be meeting until May. Michigan is going to be meeting on April the 27th. Pennsylvania will be meeting in May as well, on May 13th. Nebraska will be meeting on April the 23rd. North Carolina will be meeting on April the 19th. We've got New York, who will be meeting on April the 20th and the 27th. DC will be meeting on the 21st. Kentucky will be meeting on April the 27th, and California will be meeting on April the 20th. When you go to Michigan, who will be meeting on April the 27th, they actually will have some special guests joining them. They will have Dr. Brandy Brown, who is a climate energy and data expert, and Regina Strong, who is an environmental justice public advocate. They're going to be focusing on a hot topic, AI data centers impact, environmental justice, and they're also going to be talking about Black voters rising. Win with Black Women DC, who will be meeting on April the 18th, they're actually going to be meeting in person. And so they're going to have a coffee and conversation, a fireside chat. They're going to be joined by special guest Dr. Nicole Turner-Lee, Bonnie Denise Jenkins, and they're going to have their moderator, Stephanie Ramirez, who is a Fox 5 DC News anchor. If you would like to join them for that fireside chat, which will be on Saturday, April 18th, you can register using the link or scan the QR code. And again, Black Voters Rising. We're going to send this out to you. It's going to be in the chat. You're going to get this probably a whole bunch of times because we want to make it easy for you to share and send. We want you to sign up to be a circle leader. And don't forget, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote is still tracking our Black women candidates. And so if you know a Black woman who is running for office, send her this information. Or if you are a Black woman who's running for office, get this information and sign up because we want to know about your election. We want to track your election and we want to amplify your election as well. Lastly, if you have any opportunities, job, consulting, or funding that you would like to share with the Win with Black Women listserv, you can send those opportunities to Jewel Love's attention at where? info@winwithblackwomen.org. Make sure you get it to her by Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And then lastly, if you have a Sunday announcement for the Sunday call, you will also send that to info@winwithblackwomen.org, subject line announcements, and make sure to get that to us the Saturday before the Sunday call, the scheduled Sunday call, by 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And always, Zoom ain't free. I like to remind y'all. I've seen the Zoom bill, baby. I was shocked. But so here's our C4 donation link. If you want to send a quarter, a dollar, anything helps. Jump on in. And with that, Joteka, that is all of our announcements. I'm just a little miffed that y'all didn't say Lottie Dottie and everybody when you all were talking about who to sign up for the circle. I'm just crushed because you need to get Lottie Dottie and everybody. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. You're from the South. You know better.
I love it, Lottie Dottie and everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And before we switch to a more serious note, can we get a numbers update? Where are we at, sisters? And somebody asked, wait 1 second. Somebody in the congregation asked to put the donation link back up. Please let us put that donation link back up, because certainly any of your donations, any of your support is much appreciated. So if we could put the donation link back up, and if we could put the link in the chat or put the QR code back up, because a few sisters have asked for that in the chat. And we thank you for any donation that you are able to make, any support. All support goes towards the operations. As you know, much of Win with Black Women is volunteer. And shout out to the amazing volunteers and the Black women experts that you all saw on the call tonight. All of those women, they come on these calls and they donate their time. Our amazing tech team that you often don't see, but they are behind the scenes. So big shout out to Sister Holly Weeks and Sister Holly Holiday, Sister Chantel Mullen, Dr. Edwina Ward, the amazing jobs and consulting. And how many of you have actually benefited from or learned about opportunities from the job and consulting email that goes out every Friday? Let us continue to thank Sister Jewel Love for the work that she does, Sister Christina Q, who leads our operations, and so many sisters who support Win with Black Women, Sister Rachel Norlander, and so many who volunteer their time. Our forever producer, Donna Brazil, who continues to guide us, and so many sisters who donate their time to this effort. We are so grateful for all of you, and we thank you consistently. And this would not be possible without all of you. Sisters, and if Sister Holly Holiday could give us the number count, we could see it in the chat where we're at in the number. And then sisters have asked for the Power Rising registration link, if we can get that out, because we know that it's closing very soon. So Sister Afia, we see that you have requested that, and soon, hopefully, Sister Holly Holiday will put in the chat so we can see what we were able to do. We're at 473. 473. We are not far away from our goal. That is a wonderful number. Thank you all so much. Sisters, before we close tonight, I do want to acknowledge, and you will hear it in our spiritual closing tonight, but we continue to see Black women die at the hands of violence. And that violence often is in our own homes. And so we want to take tonight and have a moment of silence to honor and to lift up in prayer two extraordinary sisters who were tragically taken away from us as a result of domestic violence. Vice Mayor Nancy Mateer and Pastor Tammy McCullum. Let us pause. Let us remember their spirits. Let us remember their lives. And let us continue to speak out against domestic violence wherever it exists. And with that, we would like to welcome Sister Loretta Angela Walker to close us in the spirit.
Good evening, ladies. Thank you for having me tonight. I do want to pour libation for our two new ancestors as we travel through the ancestral realm. This is Nancy Mateer, the Vice Mayor of Coral Springs, Florida. May she rest in power. Also, our other new ancestor, Pastor Tammy McCollum, for our daughter as well. We express our condolences to both their families and friends and all their loved ones and all those who were impacted by their early entry into ancestral. May they both sisters rest in eternal power. Hashem. And I will close out this evening with 5 powerful affirmations. First one is, I release the old stories and step into the highest version of myself. Number 2, my healing journey has awakened an unstoppable force within me. Number 3, myself. I honor my growth. Please excuse the traffic on site. And I stand fully in my power. Number 4, in the darkness, I have risen into my brightest, most authentic self. Number 5, I no longer shrink to fit. I expand to shine. Thank you, ladies. Let's take these affirmations into a brand new week as we come to the halfway point of the National Black History Month. Ashe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sister Loretta. That was so powerful. Thank you for pouring the libations in honor of our ancestors. Thank you for lifting these 2 sisters in their spirits. And thank you for the affirmation. Sisters, with that, we have come to the close to a wonderful night here at Win with Black Women. It was so much fun. We've learned so much. We've been educated. We want to thank all of the sisters that have graced the Win with Black Women stage tonight.